Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and also teaching his truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas Camp, coming back today with another lesson. And I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect and to the point. And I wanted to do a quick video on this video that you see here on the screen. This is a body cam edition, pretty much one of those videos where it shows forth, the body cams of the cops whenever they're, whenever they're getting ready to do an arrest or whatever the case may be. And most of the time, these body cam videos, when you watch them, usually, it's a disgruntled Jake, whether it be a Pookie or Ray Ray, or it's a a nigga woman. Those, they be the main ones, that be, giving the cops hard times. They'll get pulled over and, they driving with a suspended license or whatever the case may be. And they have a loaded firearm in the car and the firearm is not registered in their name or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They just make shit hard on themselves. But in this particular instance, as you see the title, it says father catches a felony after his son comes home wearing makeup. All right, let's read that again. Father catches a felony after his son comes home wearing makeup. All right, and when I seen that title, at the end of the day, that man, that the man that caught a felony here, the father, realistically, he's not in the wrong, man. But we live in a society where we're not sovereign. We live in a society where the child, the boy, he comes home wearing makeup like a woman, and he's still in his parents' household, and you correct your son about you correct your son, and your son, your child can call the authorities on you, and you can get locked up. Or protective services will come and, take your children away from you, man. You see? And this is why, in our culture and our heritage, we had laws pertaining to disobedient children. All right, I want to say this is Deuteronomy 21, and let's see. Right. This is Deuteronomy 21. I'm gonna read this I'm gonna read it in the NLT. It says, suppose a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father or mother, even though they discipline him. It says, in such a case, the father and mother must take the son to the elders as they hold court at the town gate. The parents must say to the elders, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious and refuses to obey. He is a glutton and a drunkard. So pretty much this son, is just completely just rebellious. They're rebellious. They're not listening to, their parents, and they're still in their father and their mother's household, and they've been disciplining him, and he's still not getting it. You see, so according to the law, what does the law say that you do? Because you don't see, if you seen this in society today, all right, if you seen this in society today, you would have a lot of children who would think twice about popping off at the mouth or just being rebellious towards Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, this is verse 21. All right, it says, then all the men of his town must stone him to death. It says, in this way you will purge this evil from among you, and all Israel will hear about it and be afraid. You see that? That's the key. All Israel will hear about this badass rebellious ass son getting stoned to death. All right, and what will Israel do? Israel will hear about it and will be afraid. But that's according to the law. You see, somebody could be like, "Oh, why would God do that? Why would God allow you to stone your kids?" Well, it will be to put away evil from away from Israel, man. You see, in this particular regard, where his father, he's seen his son come home wearing makeup. What did he do, man? He disciplined him, man. Especially if you're still in your father's house. I'm gonna play a little bit of this video in the beginning, and I'm gonna get a few more precepts out. I don't want this lesson to be too long. You know what I'm saying? But this is fair use, by the way. I'm not using this video for any kind of profit or monetary gain. I'm just you know, using this video for free use. All right, just for free use of the free use of the news. All right.
I would have broken the call, man.
I'm gonna put the closed caption on.
On February 7th, 2022, a student alerted deputies to a domestic incident involving his father. The investigation revealed that on February 4th, the father confronted his son about wearing makeup, leading to a physical altercation. The child reported being slapped, restrained, and pushed to the ground, leaving him with visible injuries.
So the child was the one, the son was the one that called the authorities on his father because he came home with some goddamn makeup on. You know, and this is why the society has to go, man. You see, this is why the society has to go, because now we live in a society where, you know, we live in a society where it's all just mowed out, man. That's the only words I can really use, man. I want to say other things, but you know, but we live in a society where everything is just mowed out. All right, and what's the scripture say? A woman's garment. Let me get that. This is in the law too. Let me type it over here. Woman's garment. Right. This is Deuteronomy 22, verse 5. Matter of fact, let's read this in the NLT. Let's see what it says in the NLT. All right. See, you don't got these wacky tacky Christians that be, you know, you don't got these wacky tacky Christians going into these laws, because you got individuals who are in the Christian church, right? That's completely, you know, that's transformers, man. Look at TD Jake's son. You know, a complete transformer. Well, I might be getting mixed up with Magic Johnson's son, Salakia. Well, if I'm not mistaken, though, I think TD Jake's son is gay or something like that. Then again, well, I mean, look, shit, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. But anyways, let's get this real quick. This is Deuteronomy 22, verse 5. All right, it says in the NLT, it says, a woman must not put on men's clothing, and a man must not wear women's clothing. You see, that's a law. So how is it that you have individuals who, you know, we live in a society that's one nation under God, which we understand and know who that God is. It's not talking about Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? But why is it that we live in a nation that's a God-fearing nation, as they like to say, you know, but this law is not enacted, whereas in the church, they tell you to come as you are. If that's what you want to do, you can do that, right? Let's read this again. A woman must not put on men's clothing, and a man must not wear women's clothing. Wearing a blouse, wearing a dress, wearing makeup like a woman, right? It says anyone who does this is detestable in the sight of Yahweh, your power. You see that? You're detestable. It's an abomination. So this father here was in the right spirit, man. You know, by knocking his son out, smacking his son in the mouth, man. Let's listen to some more.
The mother later picked the child up from school and was questioned about the incident.
Senior and junior got into it?
They didn't get into it. He know why.
He told them why.
Yeah, he told us why. He told us why.
Lamar Jr. know he don't got no business doing what he's trying to do. And we not gonna have that. When he get out of my house, when he get 18, and he want to move out, he can make his own decisions.
You see that? Hey, even the woman, she was like, look, in our house, that shit ain't gonna fly. Now once and ever, whenever he gets out the house, whatever the case may be, he can do whatever the hell he wants to do. But when he's in our house, that shit ain't gonna fly. So it's even, hey, she was in the right spirit. Because sometimes, sometimes a woman would be the one that call the cops. That's my baby, and I'ma love him regardless. That's my baby. I'ma love whatever. If you want to wear a dress, if you want to wear makeup, that's fine with me. If that's what he wants to be, that's what he can be. But nah, she wasn't with that shit. She was like, hell nah. In our household, no. That shit ain't gonna fly, man. And what did the father do? The father, the father disciplining his son. And what does the scripture say? Spare not the rod? Let's get that. Okay, spareth. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, this is a Proverbs 13 and 24. All right, it reads, it says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son. It says, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes, chastens him early, disciplines him. You see, so if you spare the rod, if you don't chasten your child, whenever they go off or do wrong, you really don't love your child, man. So that father, that father smacking his son in the mouth for doing some abominable shit like that, he really showing that he loves it. He really showing that he loves his son. Knock some goddamn sense knock some sense into his ass, man. But what did the son do? The son alerted the authorities. He called the cops. And what did the cops do? The cops eventually came, and then some charges got put on his father, and then he actually got put in jail. I'll fast forward it here in a minute. Let's read it in the NLT. It says, those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. You see that they care enough to bring forth discipline. You see, let's actually get another. Let's get another precept on this. Let's get Proverbs, the 30th chapter. All right, Proverbs 30 and Proverbs 30 and 11. It says, there is a generation that curseth their father and doth not bless their mother. You see that? And that's really a stain on your father's name, man. Whenever you got a boy, you got a son, and he's into dressing like a woman, and he ends up, getting turned out by, you know what I'm saying, and end up going the other direction. I put it like, that's a stain on the father's name, man. And you don't want nothing to do with that. You don't want nothing to do with him. And I guarantee you, if that boy eventually kept doing what he did, or he might be, I don't know. Because I think this video was like 4 months old or so. His father, I guarantee you, he gonna disown him. I never disown my baby. I don't give a damn if he, I don't care if, I don't give a damn if he wear makeup, wears a dress, if he got a boyfriend, I don't care. That's my boy, that's my son. I'ma love him. No. Because in the ancient world, his ass would have had a mountain of stones over top of him, man. It would have been a mountain of bloody stones, and one arm hanging out from underneath it. Get that reprobate seed up out of there. Because what can you do? What can you do with somebody like that? So this father, man, his father was in the right spirit. It says, there is a generation that curseth their father and doth not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. And we're in this generation that is being spoken about here is talking about the very same generation that we live in right now. A bunch of these Generation Z, YNs, young niggas, these women out here being complete harlots and hoes, and pride is at an all-time high. Men don't have backbones. Women are out of order. Family structure out of order. Children just completely disrespectful to their parents. You see? This is that generation. Let's go back.
Because I got an 8-year-old that's not happy.
Well, can you?
Yeah, and she said, look, this little nigga ain't about to be dressing up like no woman around in my house. She was like, I got an 8-year-old. And that shit ain't gonna fly, because what could happen? All that wickedness that boy is doing can rub off on him, and he could be a stumbling block. You see? That's why in the ancient world, once again, that seed will be eradicated. That individual would be out of there. You see? As a matter of fact, there's a scripture, he that toucheth the pitch. I think it's in Sirach 13, he that toucheth the pitch will be defiled with it, for lack of better words. Let me get that real quick. She ain't want her 8-year-old son to be dealing with all that. She don't want her 8-year-old son to be seeing that madness. And that's right. Sirach 13:1. It says, he that toucheth the pitch shall be defiled therewith, and he that hath fellowship with the proud man shall be like unto him. And that's a very, very proud individual. That's a very proud act. To feel like as if you can walk in your parents' house. You walking in your father and your mother's house. Dressed, wearing makeup like a woman. Not once, but twice. After the first time, the first time it happened, they got on his ass and like, man, don't be walking up in his house like that no more. And then he did it again. So at that second time, hey, what's this? Hey, the scripture say after the first and second admonition his father rejected his ass, and he rejected his ass by busting him upside the face, busting him in his mouth. You know? So yeah, she was like, I don't want my 8-year-old son to see that, which is rightfully so. But we live in a society where, you discipline your child. We live in a soft generation where you discipline your child. Now your child can call the cops. I ain't that old. You know what I'm saying? I'm still fairly young. I'm in my early 30s. But I remember growing up, you couldn't. Shit, I remember getting whoopings and I remember getting disciplined with getting whoopings. You don't even see that no more. Think about calling the cops because you getting a whooping from your parents because you did some bullshit. That was not happening. And then of course the generation, generations older than me, they could tell you even more stories. Beginning with the apostles, bishops, elders on down. Men that are older than me. It was a different time.
Elaborate for us, because is it like what was it over?
You didn't tell him?
He said you were there. That's why we're wanting to talk to you.
He came home 2 days straight with makeup on.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And we're not having that.
Yes, ma'am.
And we had already talked to him the first time when he came on the first day with him.
Mm-hmm.
And really I was supposed to come in and let the fire office know, but I don't know if they could do that. I don't want him hanging around them girls.
Yes, ma'am.
But I didn't come in because
he over there hanging out with them girls, and now he over here, acting like a damn female. Grown ass, wearing makeup and shit, man. It don't show the boy, you know what I'm saying? It don't show the boy that they're portraying or that is pertaining to. But like once again, the whole basis of this lesson is the fact that the father, he ended up. I'm gonna fast forward, and you can watch the video. It's on Cold Body Cam Edition. Father catches a felony. You can look it up yourself. But I'm gonna play it from like right here. It's the most replayed.
Have them call the sheriff's office. We have to talk to them. All right.
They brought the dog. You see how they brought the dogs and everything? They brought the dogs.
Deputies arrived at the reported location and successfully located the man.
My son, lying, man. If I would have hit him, man.
Look at him. You know what I'm saying? He's a big dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a big dude. He look like he don't play no games. Just based upon his countenance for what we see.
So softball with him,
I know,
man.
I know.
He said, man, he's just mad because he can't do nothing in the house because he's very disrespectful to her and my kids. You know what I'm saying? And I come in there and tell him, I'm not doing you no more. I talked to him. I yelled at him a little bit though. And I'm saying, like I was mad. But he just lying, man. He listen to his friends. He's lying, man.
We don't know.
Pretty much the boy lied on him. Like, I mean, yeah, the father, you know what I'm saying, he did, put his hands on him, but that's his son. That's his father. You know what I'm saying? That's his son. And that was his father. That is his father. So what? What you do between you and your kids, for disciplinary, that's between y'all. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that you fuck your child up to damn near death. I ain't saying that. You know what I'm saying? But once again, in the ancient world, though, after discipline, if you didn't take heed and listen, you did get put to death. According to the law, we read it. But he gave his son a fair warning, like, man, look, man, you better stop, you better calm that shit down. He was like, I don't want that shit around my kids. My son, I don't, he got an 8-year-old son. But with your ass coming up in here, wearing makeup. That shit ain't fly with him.
Exactly what happened or what?
Yeah, that's
we
not
don't even know who Jimmy talked to. Girlfriend.
That didn't Austin.
This is
And
mama.
they told me to call.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
so
I'm
that's-
supposed to
that-
call for y'all so you
Okay.
can talk.
Okay.
Then
If I would've hit that dude, man, I would've broken his out.
I
would've
know,
broken
I know.
his jaw, man.
But like I said, you know, it's not our investigation. We were just asked to come in and
Yeah.
speak with you, okay? We do have a charging affidavit for you, all right? That's from tuning, from his investigation, all right, man? So you do have to come with us for that.
So I got a warrant.
Warrant? No, it's a charging affidavit. So whatever, I know. I'm saying whatever tuning's investigation yielded were charges for that incident. That we don't know, like we didn't
charges for?
We didn't do that investigation. Not trafficking, no. I believe it was child abuse and domestic battery.
Child abuse and domestic battery is what he got charged for. And then when you finish up the video, he actually had to sit in jail. I think he had to go to jail for a year. And he was already like on probation. You know what I'm saying? So that messed up his whole situation that he had going on. He got out of jail. You know what I'm saying? He was doing, got a job. He was doing good for himself. And then now because of this bullshit, he had got locked right back up over his son dressed like a goddamn woman. That's why we got to get the hell up out of here, man. That's why this place got to burn, man. That's why this place got to burn, man. Because really, technically, man, the father wasn't in the wrong, man. The father was actually right. And who the hell is the authorities to tell me what I can do, what I can do with my kids? See, that goes to show you that not kids, your children. That goes to show you that your children, even the children that you have, really, truly ain't even yours, man. In this society, they're not yours. They belong to the state, just like you belong to the state. But that's it. I just wanted to do a lesson on this. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Chakudash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and that's what teaching his truth. Much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, Lord willing, I say shalom.